here we are, spawning in the upper right. He is the red player for Alpha X, the Protoss Wunderkind. He is ZOUN. And his opponent in the bottom left, in the blue, representing the Shopify Rebels. One of the greatest to play the game, he is BYUN. And if you're just tuning in, of course, I would be remiss to not mention the fact that this is, of course, a sponsored stream. You can see at the bottom right, that little .live thing. That is there for a reason. We are, of course, sponsored by Donuts.live. They're a fantastic hosting service that provide a lot of, they provide some pretty cool opportunities. So if you use the exclamation mark get live, and you see the get live is actually the promo code as well, but you go to the link that is provided there, you can go and you can buy your own .live domain. So say BeoMulf.live. We're using AlphaX.live actually to link to this stream. It's fantastic from an SEO perspective. It's really keyword rich, and it's got some really good security features too. You can get your own, say Stimpacker.live or Dude215.live for about $2 for a year-long subscription. I'm honestly kind of thinking about just buying one to link in my Twitter account for my Twitch channel as well, because why not? It's like $2. And, well, it helps us out a good bit if you go do that. Even if you don't decide to go buy your own kind of rehosting domain name, well, at the very least, clicking on that link does provide us traffic, and that helps us. So if everyone can go use the exclamation mark get live, actually I'll just type it in chat. If everyone could just go to that link, even if they don't buy a domain name, which is totally fine, that adds impressions, that adds throughput to the sponsors, so that makes us look better, and, well, we get them more numbers they need, maybe they come back and sponsor us later. So that is the goal there. Thank you kindly. As we do notice, BYUN, he's opening up on the high ground here with this high ground CC. Once burned, twice careful, I guess, is the amount of Protoss players that have been playing these, well, parting builds, you know, the 3-gate pressure builds that pretty much make it impossible for the Terran player to hold their low ground without taking a lot of damage. Well, players like BYUN, they just kind of started doing it on the high ground. So the natural will be built on the high ground, floated on down once BYUN feels like it is safe. And the second benefit of this is ZOUN, as he tries to do what he wants, well, he's not going to be all that. He's not going to see a lot, right? I believe he did see the command center with the Adept. Did he actually? Yeah, okay, he did see the command center with the Adept. However, not a lot of information on the gas, anything like that. So he's going to be a little bit in the dark here. He does know this is not a one-base tech from BYUN. He does know that the barracks is in BYUN's base, but that's about it. But of course, ZOUN, those of us with omniscience, maybe not omnipresence, certainly not omnipotence, but omniscience, we'll see the fact that ZOUN is not going for that sort of early aggressive option. No, he's going to go for a Phoenix opener here, and that's rather interesting because when I think of ZOUN, I don't think of Phoenixes. I think of disruptors, I think of a really powerful play, but he doesn't really strike me as a Phoenix Colossus guy. Or even, I mean, maybe more of like a Phoenix Charge Lot Archon guy, which is something we've seen Zest do a good bit, but again, Phoenix Colossus, not exactly what I think of when I think of the player. Doesn't mean he can't do it, just surprises me to see that matchup here, but BYUN is known as an aggressive Terran, so Phoenix play is really good against a lot of aggressive Terran openers. Now, not all of them. In fact, this would just kind of straight up die to BYUN's 3-racks opener, where he goes, gets like a 215 third base, I think, 250 third base, off of 3 barracks, and kind of stims across the map and has, well, 3 command center production behind that. Alright, so now we have the Robo coming on in here, and we should see a Robo Bay after this, I would assume. This is not looking like it's going to be Phoenix Charge Lot. Now, the interesting thing here is ZOUN has not really done anything with his Phoenixes quite yet. They've not moved across the map at all. Just making sure that we don't see any early drop from BYUN, like another Widowmine drop or something. Make sure he is totally safe from that. And now that he is certain that he is safe, well, we're going to see the Widowmines move across the map here as ZOUN taking his third base. Of course, with this build, you don't take your third base quite as fast as you do if you're going Blink Stalker, something like that. But on the flip side, the units you build tend to be a lot more powerful. So it's kind of a give and take. You can't build as much because you just don't have as much economy. But on the flip side, the stuff you build, you're building only power units. You're not building a lot of warp gate units that you know are going to kind of die anyways. Alright, so now with the Phoenix controlling the map here, it's going to be difficult for BYUN to go for this timing that he is looking for. As, of course, it is only 2 Command Center, right? We don't see the 3rd Command Center on the way as of yet. We should see that go down around in about a minute from now once once all of his tech is done. Once he has System, his Combat Shields +1, and he's going to look to move across the map. Now, BYUN is going to have to be very careful with this, right? Because okay, yeah, he's not going to... The Phoenix will not be able to pick off that tank, but more importantly, BYUN has to be very careful with his Raven. As that is absolutely one of the linchpins of this push, and it's very difficult to keep alive against a marauding band of Phoenix play. Now, it's also interesting that ZOUN has opted to go for 5 Phoenix. Well, as I say that, 6 Phoenix done, 7 on the way. Never mind. ZOUN continuing his Phoenix production, as that just appears to be the new meta. Something that I first saw stats doing, because of course the old magic number for Phoenix Colossus was 5. You get 5 Phoenix, and that provides you enough air control that you can deal with a decent amount of Vikings, you can deal with medevacs, you get enough lifts, you're fine. But I first saw stats doing this. Not exactly sure who did that. I'm not sure if stats was the first one, but he was the first one I saw doing it. And he would go up to like 9-10 Phoenix off of Phoenix Colossus play. And it's winning him a lot of games, right? You go on in, you have absolute blitzing potential on mineral lines. You can lift all the tanks. You can do a bunch of different stuff. So that's always going to be rather nice here. And the Phoenix, they're just going to shark around behind the army at this point. I would love to see him maybe try to snipe the Raven, but the Raven is in a pretty good spot. And ZOUN has just let BYUN at this point get across the map. Also, why hello reality? I am in fact out here because I'm a PhD student and I make my own schedule. So if I want to stream in the afternoon when I don't have class, well, I just do my research later. Anyway, we do have BYUN going for a really nice siege deposition here. These Immortals and Sentries are taking actually a decent amount of damage, but we have a triple Colossus flank coming on in, and I don't really care. Oh, look at that. Actually, no, the army's going to move on the right-hand side here. The Colossus is going to get targeted down, and of course, the 2 Colossus on the left-hand side are incredibly damaged. Well, they have the Dorito cannon on them, so they're functionally damaged, even if they're not actually damaged on in here. But there we go. We will have the tanks on the high ground. They're going to get lifted on up here. Chargeless getting on top of the tanks on the low ground. BYUN, he's running out of bio here, but he just barely has enough. I think, no, the Colossus here, they're going to get back to the shield battery overcharge, and 1 Colossus will stay alive. ZOUN, he's going to make the hold by the skin of his teeth, and there we go. The tanks are going to go down as well. Tank getting lifted, killed off by these Phoenix, and this is the benefit of getting like 9 Phoenix. You can lose a couple and still have a very effective fighting force. And BYUN now, he's going to try to take his 3rd base, but he did not get damage. Yes, he lost 2 Colossus, yes, or yes, he killed 2 Colossus, yes, he killed an Immortal, but in the grand scheme of things, that is not the damage he was looking for. So I'd love to see him just kill that tank. He's not going to. But now with these marauding Phoenix, we're still on 7 Phoenix, by the way. As how many did we lose? 2 died. So I believe it was either 9. Did he build another, or he just go up to 9 Phoenix and lose 2? Not really sure. He did lose 2 Colossus, yes, but that was BYUN committing. That was the previous 7 minutes of BYUN's game leading up to that push, and you have to get more damage done than that. When you take your 3rd base at 9 minutes, yeah. When you take your 3rd base pretty much as the Protoss player is taking their 4th base, it's not a good deal. It had the potential to get a lot done, but not quite enough here. Now ZOUN realizing what kind of a good position he is in this game, well, he's going to look to posture. He may try to attack on in here. I mean, that's always difficult with all of these tanks. Granted, BYUN lost like 6 tanks, so it's only 3 tanks here. And yeah, he's real good charge on in here. We will see that lift on the Widowmines immediately. Tanks getting lifted, so they're not going to be able to do a whole hell of a lot here. And that does mean that, well, the army of BYUN is an indomitable one here. As now it's going to come charging on forward. The 2 Colossus are more than enough here as the Archons get on top of things. Now these EMPs are going to be nice. That will take some of the wind out of the sails of these Phoenix, but it's just going to be enough here. Charles is going to run in, and yes, this Colossus is going to go down, but it's the charge lots that are looking to carry the day here. If BYUN just doesn't have enough. He is down 20 army supply, and he doesn't have to do, or excuse me, ZOUN does not have defender's advantage, or ZOUN has enough weapons to come on in here that, yes, BYUN maybe be able to survive for the time being as the tank is mass repaired, but 36 workers have died. ZOUN doubling the income of this opponent. He's getting more and more plus on the map. He has his 4th base, and, well, BYUN is effectively on 2 base economy. There we have it. GG, ZOUN is going to take game number 1 after a really clutch hold. And there we are. Game number 1 going to the Alpha X Protoss player. But fear not, friends. This is a best of 3. We have at least one more game on the docket. Maybe another if BYUN is able to win this next game. Of course, the winner of this series is going to go on to play Zest, who 2-0'd Parting. We did, of course, cast Parting versus Dream, Parting 2-1 to Dream. That was earlier on today. And so winner of this match does play Zest. I love trying to cast games from an old patch. It's just such a process. Daddy Chotter, this game or this broadcast is live, but the games are not. These games are off of replay. They are from the Pink Drip Pylon that happened on Saturday. They were games that we did not cast, or that I guess I did not cast. That Alpha X did not cast. So we're going to go back and cover them in a more European-friendly time slot, which is what we are doing now. So the games are not live. We're doing 3 series from the Pink Drip Pylon. We're in our 3rd of 3 series there. That we're going to do BYUN versus Stats from Limit League number 223. And then a best of 2 from the World Team League, the 3rd game, or the 3rd set in that series between the Shopify Rebels and Kaitza Gaming, BYUN versus Time. So that's what we have on the left. And there we go. But anyway, we have our second game here. ZOUN got the 1-0 lead. Let's get into things. And here we are. In the red, in the upper left, for Alpha X, the hero of the Warring Kingdoms period, he is ZOUN. And his opponent in the bottom right, in the blue, you know him, you love him, for the Shopify Rebels, give it up for BYUN. I mean, realistically, I think what I need to do here is just set up my logos mod so every player can be BYUN. I just need to change the nameplate. So then we cast every Terran as BYUN, and then we just draw great viewership because we're always casting BYUN. Right? That's exactly what we do there. But yeah, the Phoenix Colossus style is very powerful against some things. It's good against an aggressive Terran for the most part, specifically against those kind of 2.5 base timing pushes that we just saw BYUN do. It's also fragile to, say, Hellion drops or something. It can be fragile to some earlier pressures, say Hellion drops or something, depending on how your timings go. It can also be very good against that, but certainly, let's say Stats, for example, when I did Best of 9, him versus BYUN, he pretty much lost 4 straight Hellion drop games when he opened Stargate. And he won all the Hellion drop games when he opened... actually, no, I'm sorry, I'm not thinking of Hellion drops. Hellion drops, or Stargate's actually just really good against Hellion drops in general. It's vulnerable to, there we go, that's what it was, like the 3-backs stim play. Stuff like that BYUN likes to do, because you just don't have a lot on the ground, and Phoenix are only so good against mass stimmed bio. So, stuff like that. It has its weaknesses, it has its benefits, but it certainly can be powerful against like what the meta currently is right now. Which is, of course, true in part because the meta right now is a lot of Blink Stalkers for the Protoss player, and that means the Terran openers are optimized to deal with Blink Stalker games. So... And let's be real here. You're talking about no balance updates, just map updates. Map updates are balance updates. Oh, yeah. The sponsor. I got you. Here we go. It's not live, it's get live. There we go. So ZOUN with a little bit of a proxy here on the map. This is looking like a Stargate position. I don't think we're going to see a gateway here. This is not looking like it's going to be the parting build. Honestly, I didn't really look at the opener close enough, unfortunately. But there we go. Oh, will be a gate. Okay. That is a faraway gateway. But this does look like it will be the parting build after all. Okay. And BYUN not opening with his command center on the high ground this time. So he's a bit more vulnerable to this build now. We're going to have to see just how vulnerable he is. But for the moment, well, it's going to be a little bit scarier. As, of course, the Adept now owns the low ground, which means it's going to be difficult for what BYUN has to really get anything done here. And now we have Stalkers on the way. So Stalkers are going to come rallying out on the map at this point. And Warp Prism just about, or Warp Gate, excuse me, is just about done. Chrono is, of course, being spent on this. So this is not one of those builds where you can just kind of do it and get no damage done and be totally fine. Just say, okay, this is my opener. You want to get damage done, but it's also really powerful because it's almost guaranteed to get damage done if you do it properly. So we're just gonna have to see just how strongly or how much damage BYUN is going to be able to take, right? If he's doing it as he would like, he just maybe loses some bio and he's totally fine. Traditionally, though, we see 5, 6, 7, 8 SCVs go down. The natural has to get lifted, and a bunch of bio dies too. So we're gonna have to see just what BYUN opts to hold here. And the interesting thing here, of course, is ZOUN. He kind of skipped the Adepts. Generally, you get like 3 to 5. You get 3 Adepts at 3 minutes and 15 seconds. But now it's 5 Stalkers here and the mineral line. And this drop that BYUN went for, well, that just means his entire army is not there. So of course now that means ZOUN, he owns the mineral line. We're gonna see the natural base lift. 6 workers have died, and ZOUN, I would love to see him try to get on up into the high ground here. With the Widow Mine, of course, that's a bit annoying, but he's just going to sacrifice the Adept for it because he doesn't really care about it. And these Stalkers, well, they're just going to get the Reactor, which just means less Marines. And now there are a lot of Marines here for BYUN. Don't get me wrong. But that's not really... Well, if micro properly, ZOUN's going to be fine. He just can't really push up into the ramp because he has less room to micro. Actually, yeah, there we go. The reactor was targeted down. 6 workers died. 3rd base was lifted for a bit. And we're starting to see some bio go down. This is absolutely worthwhile here for ZOUN. He's getting just about as much damage done as he would like. Hi-ho, Colin Ahab. Captain Ahab. We're searching for the white whale of a Terran that can beat this build from Parting Build. I don't think I've seen it lose yet. I don't think I've seen it lose yet. Oh, the Adepts are going to find their way into the main base, too. That is unfortunate. We will see an auto turret get dropped, but well, Adepts can just kind of run out of range, and that will force the drop. BYUN keeps trying to make this drop happen. Stop trying to make drops happen, BYUN. They're not going to happen. I feel like drops are like fetch, but anyway, 6 more workers will go down. BYUN has lost tremendous amounts in this game, right? 14 SCVs, 1 Widow Mine, Marine, a Reactor. BYUN unlike half the income of his opponent at this point. And ZOUN actually missed an opportunity here to knock down that Raven, or at least do some damage to it. But that's fine. Once again, ZOUN does have his 3rd base on the way, and even if this ensuing a push that is going to eventually happen does knock down this 3rd base, I don't really think ZOUN cares, because he just has such a tremendous economic advantage. Now, if we look at the graph for a second, it's not all that much because BYUN has mules, but those are temporary things, and they're not really going to mean anything in the grand scheme of things here. Now, of course, I was charged on. Charger's not done. It's going to be Blink first. Another deviation from Parting. The way Parting played this, we did see Parting do this, and he went kind of immediately into Charge afterwards, so he could hold off the ensuing push, because, of course, Charge takes a lot less time to research, but no. ZOUN, he's going for the greediest possible build, and I don't hate it because, well, BYUN, he's going to go home. BYUN is realizing that, yeah, without Stim, there's not a lot I can do, so I guess I just kind of go home and lick my wounds and hope I can take this game late. The right pronunciation is ZOUN, or, yeah, ZOUN, effectively. I'll bring up the poster after this. He is named after a general of the Warring Kingdoms period, who is also a famous book character. There are a bunch of books written, like novels written about that period, that ZOUN's a big fan of. So he named himself after that. Alphax tweeted out about it at one point. Yeah, so it's not ZOUN, as we thought when he first came to prominence. Unless you're Artosis and you're tasteless in Artosis, you kind of refuse to pronounce it correctly. Yeah, it's ZOUN. And this is interesting. So we're going to see Chargelot Storm here is going to be the tech here from ZOUN out of this opener. And, you know, that's not as common. Storm tech, it's kind of coming back into the meta a little bit. Zest has really been pushing it into this meta with this relatively low probe count mass Chargelot games that he played against Clem, and he's played some games since then. And Storm is good, just... well, EMPs are better, especially with enhanced shockwaves, but if you are able to get damage done early and therefore delay the ghost timing, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. So we've charged just about done here, +1 as well. And actually, in this game where it kind of looks like BYUN is gonna try to hit a stim, combat shield, concussive shell +1 timing with a bunch of tanks, ZOUN is going to have +1 first. So that's a little bit spooky there for the Terran players. ZOUN has been on his 3 bases for quite a while now. Of course, BYUN, he only has 2 command centers. He's going to take his 3rd base now, but he hasn't gotten any damage done. He took a lot of damage. He's lost, what was that, 15 workers? 14 workers. And, I mean, this is a late 3rd, so he's going to have to get something done here, but I think the window is closing, that BYUN maybe could have made something happen. Because now, well, we have ZOUN. He's getting aggressive. A bunch of Chargelots are getting warped on in. We do have 4 storms in that warp prism, and we're gonna see a bunch of Archons get warped on in as well. So ZOUN, he has the upgrade. Well, actually, doesn't have the upgrade lead anymore. He has the supply lead. He has 4 storms, and 7. I don't know, 7 feedbacks ago. Our zealots brought forth a new empire, and yes, we will see a fantastic, disable on top of that war prism. But those 2 storms are going to be fantastic. The 3rd base is going to get broken here, and that's just going to be it. ZOUN with the sledgehammer in the drawing room. He's going to knock out BYUN